It's 9 p.m. on the East Coast of America, and live from the WACA studios, this is Good Night. We begin tonight with a story of heroism from none other than Machete himself, the famous actor Danny Trejo. Last Thursday, the 75-year-old action star was driving behind a car that flipped over after a collision in Los Angeles. He and another Samaritan raced to save the grandmother and baby that were trapped in the overturned car and successfully rescued both victims of the wreck. The actor distracted the baby while the grandmother was being treated for injuries. Both victims are reportedly okay. And Trejo's advice during the interview was to always keep kids in car seats and pay attention. Trejo is in the upcoming Dora the Explorer live-action film as Dora's sidekick, Monkey Boots. So the studios are probably happy with the inadvertent promotion. It's an amazing act performed by an amazing person, and Hollywood has taken notice and has already greenlit a whole franchise involving Trejo saving people from crazy situations. Building collapses, car wrecks, flash floods are his specialty. Random acts of heroism, 1, 2, and 3, are being filmed as we speak and should be coming to a theater near you the next couple years. Hollywood never fails to capitalize on a trend. Speaking of Hollywood, Universal Pictures canceled the premiere and release of their new movie, The Hunt, after backlash from political pundits and even Donald Trump himself. The movie follows a most dangerous game presence where snobby rich people hunt poorer people for sport. Due to the violent nature of the film, as well as the prevalence of guns throughout the trailers, Universal states that they pulled some advertisements in the wake of the two mass shootings that occurred in Dayton and El Paso last weekend. But in the wake of Trump's tirade on violent media, video games, and movies included, he subtweeted The Hunt, which uses decidedly coded stereotypes of liberal Hollywood elites playing the snobby rich people and deep South conservatives as the poorer people. Some conservatives, including Fox News, saw this as an attack on Republicans as a base, but upon actually viewing the trailer, that's not what's really going on. The liberal elites are decidedly bad guys, and the deep South conservatives are decidedly the heroes. But either way, because of this backlash, the film has been pulled, which will more than likely have a Streisand effect on the film. Because it got pulled, people are going to want to see it more, just like when Sony pulled the release of Seth Rogen and James Franco's The Interview over threats from North Korea. I'm sure what would have originally been a critically and monetarily mediocre film just got a whole lot more popular because of this controversy. It seems like we have dumb Disney news to share every week, and this week, unfortunately, is no different. Disney has announced that they plan to remake the popular Christmas movie franchise Home Alone. In the age where everything Disney is getting remade, from The Lion King to Mulan, we probably should have seen this coming. But even still, the star of the original Home Alone, Macaulay Culkin, took to Twitter to give an outlook on what Home Alone would look like in 2019. He also asked Disney to call him if they were looking for casting, which would be the only way I'm seeing this movie, to be honest. But we think Disney is overstepping their bounds on this one. It's easy to remake The Lion King. It's a timeless story. Same with Mulan. But getting Home Alone to work in 2019 is going to be the hardest part. It just doesn't seem to make sense as a premise. To demonstrate, Connor and Todd decided to try their hand at the remake. Check it out. Everything? We're good?
Sure as the sun will rise tomorrow, it will be a brand new day. My heart won't hurt so bad. Blue skies will chase the rain away.
Todd?
I long to not feel so sad. Just skip jump on my way. Sure as the moonlight glows so brightly, I'll be feeling fine, I know. I can see that
You left without me.
silver lining. It's getting clearer every day. Dark.
Hello?
Why are you calling me from the back?
Yeah, idiot, you left without me.
Yeah, I'll be there in like 2 seconds. Give me a second.
Yeah, I know you're in a rush. Just come back and get me. We're gonna miss our flight.
That saying must be true. Just live one day at a time. Your soul will guide you through and through. Sure as the sun will rise tomorrow, I'll look for that sunshiny day.
The movie doesn't have a release date yet, but the news comes after Disney acquired Fox and will reportedly be released on Disney's streaming service, which is set to release in November of this year. In music news, Grammy-nominated singer Mike Posner was taken to the hospital during his walk across America after being bitten by a rattlesnake in Colorado. The Cooler Than Me and I Took a Pill in Ibiza singer began his walk from New Jersey to California back in March, stopping to play songs in selected towns along the way and documented it all on social media. He was 1,800 miles in out of a 2,400-mile journey when he was bit and airlifted to the closest hospital. He was treated with an anti-venom and has to spend a few weeks recuperating, but he's hopeful that he'll be back on the road in no time. The experience, while scary for sure, will no doubt inspire many Grammy-winning tracks like I Got Bit in Colorado. We're pulling for a speedy recovery, Mike. That's going to do it for the news this week. Stay tuned for Lucy's Burdge This Week in Music History. In addition from some bits from our crew celebrating Julian French Fry Day. And don't go anywhere because we have what's trending on Twitter to discuss, in addition to an interview with the owner of Turtle Boy Sports. So keep it locked right here to Good Night.
This is Lucy Burdge with Good Nights This Week in Music History. We begin in 1956 when Elvis Presley's double-sided hit Don't Be Cruel and Hound Dog was released. In 1965, the Beatles arrived at JFK Airport in New York for their tour of North America. Also in 1965, Sonny and Cher started a 3-week run at #1 on the US singles chart with I Got You Babe. In 1966, John Lennon held a press conference at the Astor Towers Hotel in Chicago and apologized for his remarks, saying that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus. Also in 1966, Lovin' Spoonful started a 3-week run at #1 on the US singles chart with Summer in the City. Great song. In 1977, Elvis died. He was found dead lying on the floor in his bathroom. He officially died of heart failure. In 1991, Nirvana shot the video for Smells Like Teen Spirit at GMT Studios in Culver City, California. In 2002, Bruce Springsteen started a 3-week run at #1 on the US album chart with The Rising, the singer's 5th US #1. In 2005, P. Diddy appeared on the Today Show and announced that he was changing his stage name again, dropping the P and referring to himself just as Diddy. And in 2018, Aretha Franklin died in Detroit at the age of 76. This has been Lucy Burdge for Good Nights This Week in Music History. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Lucille Burdge for both.
Hi guys, and welcome to National Julian French Fry Day.
So what are we doing today for this exquisite day?
Well, we gotta prepare ourselves some julienne fries.
Right. So we've actually created some homegrown, all-natural, non-GMO fries. Todd, if you want to get those out for us. Very nice.
So we preheated the oven to 450, and now we gotta spread these in even layers across the sheet.
Even later. But also, Todd, did you know that Belgians actually eat more fries than anyone else in the world?
Okay.
Belgium consumes more fried potatoes per capita than any other country, some 165 pounds per person annually. Should we put the sea salt on now or later, Todd?
I think we need to get it on now that we kind of have it in an even layer across that baking sheet. There's never enough salt. I think there's enough salt now, though.
Okay.
Makes it nice and difficult.
Did you know, who do you think brought fries to America?
The one and only Mr. Jefferson. I've learned
Thomas
this.
Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson probably first encountered sliced fried potatoes while serving as the American ambassador to France, where fries has been enjoyed since at least 1760. French verb friery.
So we'll throw these in the oven, and we'll come back with more facts, and we'll enjoy these French fries.
Absolutely. Perfectly made pommes frites.
All right, now they're nice and ready.
Thanks for tuning in to our Julienne Fries Day celebration, and we'll be back with some more good night.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Fries.
Welcome back to Good Night. On tonight's edition of Trending on Twitter, we're joined by Todd Carter. Everybody knows him as Mr. Clean's body stunt double. And Nick Fetherston, the young Bobby Orr, in a film coming very soon to you. Good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us here on Good Night.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right, if we go to Connor back in the studio, what's trending on Twitter tonight, our first, and we covered it in the pop news segment tonight, Home Alone. What do you guys think? Why is Home Alone trending on Twitter, and will it work?
It won't. I think our segment said it all. It's 2019. You have cell phones, unless some catastrophe happens.
Yeah,
you have
like-
the internet and everything.
Kids are more capable than we give them credit for these days.
Wouldn't some group now that just call them out and say, "Oh my gosh, this is child abuse"? You're like, you left your kid at home. How dare you? I mean, in today's overly sensitive world. But
Well,
wouldn't
that
be
too.
the case?
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was child abuse back then, still too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like Home Alone, but
Great movie.
oh yeah, but even back then, it's still kind of like, come on. Like
Yeah.
you can't
How
just
can
call
you
the
forget your
can't
kid?
call the police. Also, like
Yeah.
yeah. Number one, how do you forget your kid like that? And two, he can't just call the police. Also, he takes on two. I forget if they're armed or not, but he takes on two fully grown
No.
like robbers.
They were idiots. I mean,
Well, yeah, but
yeah, but to your point, like, why wouldn't you just call the police?
also some of his traps would have killed them.
Now, if they remade it with him in the movie, and he was like a bad babysitter or a bad parent, I think that they could pull it off. But there's just no way you can pull off a remake of that.
No.
No,
It'd
not
be just
today's.
lame.
I recently found out there's like 5 of them.
5 Home Alones?
Yeah, I think Macaulay Culkin's only in the first 2, but there's like 5 Home Alone movies, I think. Maybe not 5, but there's more than like the 2 that everyone knows.
He could probably use a paycheck or something like that.
Probably.
All right, any other comments on Home Alone?
No, I
Just not going to work.
No.
just not
It's
gonna
just
work.
not going to work, even if they stream it. You know, the new Disney thing is pretty interesting. The streaming, they say it'll take out Netflix. I don't know that. It's gonna
I don't know.
take out
I
Netflix.
saw this cool deal that they're doing because Disney now also owns Hulu. They're like bundling Hulu and Disney Plus, and then ESPN apparently has a
Right.
streaming service.
'Cause
You
it's
get them
owned by
all.
Disney,
Get them
yeah.
all for $12.99 a month.
We will see. Cut the cord. You might not need cable anymore. So.
Well, I disagree with that.
But we'll see. All right, if we go back to the studio, Connor, the next item trending on Twitter is the Mooch, Scaramouche. You guys all know him. He was Donald Trump's press secretary for about, 12 seconds. And is now saying that the President of the United States is headed towards a breakdown. You guys' thoughts?
I feel like he's kind of already had a breakdown. I think he had a breakdown the day he got elected, but
Yeah, I don't think he was ready to get elected. I still don't think he totally believes it's all true being in the White House.
That
and
President
everything.
Trump?
Yeah, I think he's still living in a bit of a dreamland. He's still like, how did I get here?
well, like you think back to like he said it when he first got elected. He's like, "This is a lot harder than I thought it would be." It's like you're the President of the United States.
It is a tough job, but I kind of agree with Todd. When he first ran, I was like, I don't think he really thought he was going to win. I just think he thought it was a good way to promote his brand. But I don't know. It'd be interesting. I'm going to go see him on Thursday up in Manchester. Hopefully, I'm working on trying to score an interview for the program. See if we can get that done. But I don't know.
With
if
Mooch
it's-
or Trump?
With Trump.
Oh wow.
With Trump on Thursday. He's coming to Manchester on Thursday in a big rally. It's going to be a big protest outside. So it'll be an interesting evening, I think. But his best friend, or not his best friend, but a good friend for many, many years is saying that he's, publicly coming out and criticizing him, saying he's ready for a breakdown. So, I think he's off the Christmas card list from the president. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. Connor, back in the studio. The next thing trending on Twitter we're going to be talking about is the great Robin Williams. You guys have any thoughts on Robin Williams? You guys are too young to remember Mork and Mindy, but that's how I remember.
Like, what is there left to say about Robin Williams?
Mrs.
He's like,
Doubtfire?
It's crazy. Like 5 years have passed
Yeah.
without that. It's just like the level of comedy and the level of wit that he always had about him and the energy, like you just can't match.
he's like an
At all.
icon.
Yeah.
Do you think he will, 20 years from now, people will still appreciate his comedy?
Oh yeah.
I think so. It's just so fast paced. I think he was really like the founder of that kind of fast paced
Yeah.
type of comedy that people are now like using, but even today we can't use it as well as he did.
Right. Like everyone, there's so many people who try to imitate like Robin Williams to the point where it's like,
But Nick, you're an actor. It was all an act. He was a very depressed person
well,
when he died. He was
Yes.
deep into depression. So, I mean, was his whole act an act, or do you think it eventually evolved into depression?
I don't know if I'm really qualified to speak to that, but like I think it goes to show just how great of an actor that he really was to be able to go into work and put on a smile and do what he did. Like I think that goes to show a little bit at least.
Do you think his stand-up was the best? His movies, his TV shows? What you enjoy the most about Robin Williams?
Listen, the thing is, like his, I haven't seen a ton of his stand-up, but like, it all kind of blends together, like to a specific like style. Like, I don't think anything that he did was remarkably different from anything else that he did, but it all had the same level of quality. That
I would agree. A
Makes
lot
any
of his
sense.
stuff was all the same, but
Yeah.
it always worked, though.
well, it's like with like Aladdin, like he never like stuck to like scripts very much when it came to like comedy movies at least. Like Aladdin, there's like hours of like extra like behind the scenes like content that they have because like he just went off script entirely. I was actually reading an article a couple days ago about how when Aladdin came out, it couldn't be nominated for best like animated screenplay because Robin Williams didn't stick to the screenplay, so nobody really actually saw it.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. I learned something here on Good Night.
Yeah. Well, he made up so many things that are
Yeah.
so quotable today.
Oh, yeah.
Connor will appreciate one of our scoutmasters used to say in the morning as we woke up at the campsite, "Good morning, Vietnam."
I was going to say that you stole my. I think that was his best work. That's the work that I remember the most. I mean, I loved
Yeah,
all
it
of
was
his
a
work,
great
but that
one,
was the good one. Good Morning Vietnam.
Like a Dead Poets Society.
No,
That's a good one.
Another good one. We could be here all night naming them. All right, Connor, back in the studio. The next trending on Twitter topic we're talking about: my school never had. I'll show my age. We never had air conditioning at my school.
It still doesn't work very well, if that makes
Yeah.
you feel any better.
No.
I mean, if school also technically counts as college, we don't have air conditioning in the dorms.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
There's that.
We had a smoking pit in my school. Imagine having that nowadays.
My school never had that.
Nope, never had that. Nope.
We
We had Future Farmers of America meetings where I went to school, so because we were all farmers. But
We didn't have very edible food.
Yeah, the food was a little iffy, but I remember the.
was it better before Michelle Obama's food plans or after?
I honestly can't say I remember. I
It-
I brought my lunch mostly, but whenever I had the school. the
It
school
wasn't
food
good
was-
before. After, it was just healthier. After,
Yeah.
it wasn't really better or worse.
There were, like, instead of there only being 3 options for fruit, there were 4.
But you guys always had internet your whole time that you guys remember in school, right?
I mean, it was
for
there.
the most part.
You grew
Whether
up
or
with
not-
that. You
Yeah.
grew up with some semblance of
We
air
had
conditioning.
the TVs that never worked. They had the rolling carts with the heavy
Yeah.
backs on the TVs, and every time they'd pull those in, I would remember they'd plug them in. Doesn't work. They'd
Yeah.
have to go and get like 3 rolling carts before they found the TV
Yeah.
that worked with the VCR.
Well, and then even if it was like recent technology, you know, our school never had people who knew how to use that technology. Like it'd be like, okay, we're gonna use the projector today. It's gonna be super fun. But then like 60% of the class is watching the teacher like struggle setting it up, and then they have to call down the tech teacher, and then he comes down. He's like, I don't know what you did to this thing, but I can't work it. And then the teacher's like, all right, you know what? We're just gonna do it on the whiteboard today. And then they
You've
get
already wasted 30 minutes of
it's
class
just like,
time.
why learn anything at this point? All I learned is that I don't really trust
So are you
you.
bragging or complaining? Because I mean, at me, I'd be like, oh, great. That's like Todd said, 30 minutes have been wasted, so that's great. So when's the bell going to ring?
Wasting my time. Let me go home.
When's the bell going to ring?
Figure that stuff out before we come to class.
All right, what are we missing? What else this week on Twitter?
Honestly, don't go on Twitter that much.
All right, well, there you go. So we bring an expert in to talk about Twitter who doesn't go on Twitter that much. So there you go.
Yeah, I never claimed I was an expert.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's Trending on Twitter. When we come back, I think we're going to have a fascinating interview with Turtle Boy Sports. So keep it right here on Good Night. Thanks for tuning in to Good Night, and our special thanks to our trending panel, Todd Carter and Nick Fetherston. Thanks to Lucy Burdge for her This Week in Music History segment. We'll see everybody next week, Monday night, 9 p.m. Have a good night, everybody.